All right, we're out at Santana High School continuing our East County tour of the preseason training camps. Coach Tim Estes of the Santana Sultans joining us. And Dave, Coach Estes is able to set some very realistic goals for this veteran team this year. Not only a league championship, because we see the league kind of evening out a little bit more this year, but also a possible section championship. And I don't just say that lightly. Remember last year they reached the San Diego CIF semifinals, losing to eventual state division champion San Diego High, a game that for those two victories, those incredible contrasting victories that they had against La Jolla Country Day and Mar Vista, they played just as well in that San Diego game. Unfortunately, they were matched up against one of the best small division teams to ever come out of the section.
And looking back on that, Coach, I mean, what were your thoughts on that game after such crazy 2 games prior to that, and winning them convincingly and knocking the Mariners out down at their place, and then having to play the Cabers?
Mar Vista, we've been playing them for the last 6 or 7 years, give or take, and it's usually been a home team usually wins thing. They came here earlier in the season, they beat us at home. And we're like, oh man, and then we had to go back down there and play. We playing on grass, which we don't play a ton of, and it always makes our guys a little bit nervous about it. We even practiced on the grass ahead of time to try to prepare them a little bit, but I think this year the guys were just ready to go. They go, we were set, and everything worked out well for us. Right. They ended up playing really, really well.
Yeah, Coach. 27 seniors back from a team with all that playoff experience. Yeah, 3 games, Dave. Playing 3 games in the playoffs is nothing to shake a stick at, man. That's important.
Yeah.
And I think that bodes very, very well. But if you could just take us through the roller coaster ride of that playoff run. First of all, I don't think, as much as we tried to play up that game against La Jolla Country Day, I'm not sure the county really grasped what happened here that night, Coach. 7 touchdowns from a quarterback that had just really come off the disabled list, who had missed 5 weeks in a row. A receiver that catches 5 touchdown passes, sets school records for receiving in that game. And then to turn it around the next week and win a 23-6 game. This is a veteran coaching staff. I think they know what they're doing. It may not have surprised them the way the 2 games ended out. I think maybe the La Jolla Country Day game, a little bit of a surprise with that many points, but I think that the strategies dictated the tempo and the score of those games.
It did. The La Jolla Country Day game, we got ahead by a few touchdowns. We said, okay, they put in some of the younger guys that don't play. And they did such a great job coaching. They brought them back, and we go, oh man, then we had to put them back, starters back in. We got some more points, and then it just turned into a roller coaster ride. And it was a lot of fun for the fans to watch, not so much for me. I wasn't comfortable in the game until we took a knee, because anybody touched the ball, somebody was scoring, and it was like, oh my God, it was a crazy game. It was fun, but it was crazy.
Dave, the next week, they went down to Mar Vista, played that rival of theirs on that natural grass turf that you love to talk about, and it just goes to show how the defense can rise up. Sometimes when you put a defense in a situation like they were put in against La Jolla Country Day, they made a few stops, and that's what kind of won the game. You can talk about all the offense. They made a few stops early on and kind of won the game. But then to remotivate a defense after kind of a humbling night like that, and then to go out and only allow 6 points in a quarterfinal playoff game. Dave, that's coaching, baby.
It definitely is, and then especially coaching the defense up in that type of field, and them being the bigger guys on that kind of surface, I think that really says a lot about the capability physically of that defense.
Oh yeah, the guys, they really stepped up in that game. Mar Vista will, they're well coached, and they got some real guys, and they like to pound you, and they tried to, and guys came through.
Coach, the excitement this year I think stems from all those returning seniors, but also a quarterback that had that record-setting performance, and that's senior Nathan Temple. He was injured, Dave, in the 2nd game of the season, broke his collarbone, didn't say anything, continued to play the game right through the game, didn't say anything until the game was over. What does that say, Coach, about not only Nathan Temple, but about a football player's toughness, wanting to stick it out for all his buddies, all his buddies, right?
It is. It's kind of like an old school thing. He's got hurt. He thought something was a little bit wrong. He got adrenaline going for the game and stuff, but he didn't really notice until he went to try to take off his pads. And he goes, I can't take off my pads. And then it was just by chance. Our trainer wasn't there that night, but I actually knew the trainer from the other team. And I go, hey, can you come take a look at him? And he goes, it's probably got a broken collarbone. And so, and it was, but it just tells you the character of Nate. He's just one of those guys. tough-nosed kid.
Dave, no fear. This coaching staff coached him up.
Yeah.
They went on a winning streak with basically a position player coming over and playing quarterback, and got off to a real nice start. Ended up playing some tough games in a losing streak, and then when they got Nathan back again, right about that time, started another winning streak right into the playoffs.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, he just took the reins. I mean, you played him a few snaps against Elkhorn Valley, tuned him up a little bit, and then it was like he never left.
It was just like he never missed a beat. That's just what type of kid he is. He stepped right in. Like I said, we had a few. He played most of the game against Elkhorn. We did a few things with him, but then the next game was just like he didn't miss a single game. It's just the type of kid he is. And all the other guys really had stepped up and played, and they all rallied around our other guy, who was a receiver for us and a DB and stuff. And so the kids, that's just the type of kids they were. And that team was an outstanding team for us.
So go ahead.
I was going to say there's a few kids that we're going to miss off of that team. Obviously, a couple of those seniors that we have, Colton Snipes and Ian Litton, and a couple of linemen, Ryan Bennett and stuff. Those guys, and I'm missing a couple, I'm sure, but those guys, we're going to miss them. This year's team, I really like them. I think they can do. I put league champs and other stuff as a goal, because if you don't have that, then what's the point of having it? So we're going to try to be league champs, and every game's important.
Let's start with the offense, just because of that record-setting performance. You talked about Nathan Temple, but the receivers coming back as well. We saw Randy Smith. That was a record-setting performance. Also, Jared Forrester Jr. this year, who actually looked terrific as a sophomore.
Oh, he was
and
great.
Going to at least have him for those 2 years. And Brooks Mutaw has been in this backfield carrying the ball heavily over the last 2 seasons. So.
Yeah, he came over here as a sophomore. I mean, if you look back 3 years, I mean, he really started off his career with the Bing when they played Vincent Memorial out there.
Yeah. He had like 200 yards rushing.
So we're going to score 70 points every game, Coach?
I don't think so. I would like to, but not, actually. I just don't want the other team to score nearly that many. I don't want to have to score 70 to win. It makes it fun for the fans, but not so much for me or my gray hair, which I'm getting a lot of. Luke has been outstanding for us. He plays offensive line. He plays every position offensive line. He plays defensive line. He also plays outside linebacker for us. He does whatever we ask him to do, and he's just a phenomenal kid. He's a 4.0 guy, so he's a great student. Works hard in the weight room. Most of them we all have 2 positions, offense and defense. But the other one is Andrew Gumbayeski. He is. I said his name wrong, I know, but we call him Gumby for short. He's our center. He does a fantastic job. He's going to only be a junior. He's done a fantastic job for us. Last year, we brought him up. He did great. This year, I believe he's going to do very, very well. J.C. Lynch, he's plays offensive tackle, plays defensive line, outside linebacker. He's going to do well. Most of our guys will play both ways for us, just because of numbers.
Yeah, especially I think after the unfortunate results last year, and where Nathan actually did get the injury, and then you also have you got Mountain Empire, where they came down here and we handled them heavily, but now we go up there with some desert air, and they were D5 champions. However, they have graduated a lot of their senior class that was part of that 4-year team.
And we're playing on grass again, so that's always a different thing. But Sarah, we played them a couple times in the summertime, and they're well coached, and they're a good football team. We're not looking past them at all, but first we have to get by Mountain Empire, then we'll keep working on after that. But the first one's most important.
Absolutely.
And Coach, you had a great legendary linebacker, especially around these parts.
Yeah.
Great with the Chargers, and of course with his career with the 49ers, Gary Plummer.
And actually, the story he told about when he was in high school and George Seaver came out to recruit him. He didn't say who the coach was at the beginning. He came out and looked at him and basically, "Oh, you're too small. You can't play in the Pac-10." Obviously the Pac-10 back then, and basically walked out. And Gary took that as a motivator. It wasn't that he wasn't, he was disappointed, but he goes no, and he motivated himself to do that. And then later, when San Francisco came brought him up, coach says, "I'm sorry, you can't play in the Pac-10, but you can play in the NFL." And so I thought that's a really cool little story. But that motivated him. That didn't put him down and say, "I'm done and I'm walking away from football and everything." That motivated him to get better and get better. And obviously, he went undrafted. He walked on at Cal and did stuff, and people just kept overlooking. Played 15 years in the NFL.
No, absolutely. I think that they were very stern and very involved in what he was having to say, and especially discussing all the possibilities of concussion protocol and the long-term damage that it can, and what to look for.
quite an experience for these guys?
Oh yeah, very much so. Because he talked about some of the old school ways and some of the new stuff that's going on and stuff, and I think the energy and the effort that he said is all about, the effort. He said he'd be the first one to the top of the stands when they had to run to the stands, and he'd be the first one to do something. And I think that was being like the bottom line and stuff is how much effort you're putting into it.
We used to practice full speed, full pads, full speed, almost all the time. Again, because the NFL was really stupid back then. I'm grateful that you guys are doing it the right way now. So if I had that many in the game, how many bull in the rings, how many different drills did I have? I probably had another 3,000 to 5,000 in practice. So what I'm telling you guys is that if it happens, be smart about it. Talk to your coaches.
Yeah, I think we're looking at 3 stages this
Yep.
year for the Sultans, non-league, league, and maybe another playoff run for these Santana Sultans. All right, Coach Tim Estes, thank you very much. Dave, great job, and I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.